Hey y'all, welcome to the Fill-In Station. I am super excited, y'all. The market's been closed today and I've had a chance to go back and look at some inside day candles, and we have a lot of inside day candles. So these are inside day candles for tomorrow, which is June the 20th. But let me go ahead and give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues, y'all. So this video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, let's get started. So our first on the list is Apple. Apple is an inside day candle. If it should break above $218.53, then we have a target of $218.95. And if it should break below 213.10, then the target to the downside is here at 212.72. And Apple normally moves about $5.06 per day, and that could be in either direction, y'all. Just know that it is very close to finding support at this 5 EMA on the daily chart at 212.40. So I would definitely watch that level to the downside because it can come here, bounce, and move back to the upside. So Apple is an inside day candle for tomorrow, which is the 20th. Affirm, AFRM, is another inside day candle. Let's see, if it should break above 31.26, then the target to the upside is 31.82. If it breaks below 29.89, then the target to the downside is 29.73. And Affirm normally moves about $2.15 per day, and as you can see, we are under the 200 EMA and the 5 EMA, which has crossed to the downside, it looks like. So I'm not sure which direction it wants to go. I would always say, y'all, trade carefully. Just know that it is an inside day candle, and it moves about $2.15 per day. So AMD is an inside day candle. AMD is so interesting. Let me say that these charts look, this chart probably looks a little congested because I look at this one a lot, and I mark support and resistance on this one a lot also. So let's see. If it should break above 161.34, then the target to the upside is 162.32. And if by chance we break under the, we are already under, let's see, we'll come back to AMD. Maybe that's one I just added to my list for today because it does not look like an inside. It was an inside day candle. It is not an inside day candle. Let me rephrase that. So Amazon is our next inside day candle, y'all. I do apologize for that. I just created a watch list for tomorrow, and it seems like AMD is just one of my daily ones. Okay, so looking at Amazon, Amazon is an inside day candle. If it breaks above 184.25, then 185 is the target. If it breaks below 181.48, then the downside target is here at 181.23. And Amazon normally moves $3.39 per day. And we are under the 5 EMA on this daily chart. So knowing that the 183.88 is going to be our trouble place, which is resistance, right? So yeah, and we closed at 182.81. So that's something to be mindful of for Amazon, right? So AR is an inside day candle. It normally moves $1.15 per day. If it breaks above 32.97, then 33.30 is the upside target. And to the downside, if it breaks under 32.39, then the target to the downside is 32.23. Beyond Meats is an inside day candle, BYND. If it breaks above $6.56, then the target to the upside is $6.59. If it breaks below $6.38, then the target to the downside is $6.26, and it only moves 43 cents per day. So if you trade beyond, I would say definitely trade carefully, right? Coinbase is an inside day candle, and Coinbase normally moves about $15.32 per day. So if it breaks above 242.79, then the target is to the upside is 248.53. To the downside, if by chance it continues down, if it breaks under the 234.66, then the 3407 is the target, and we closed at 235.95, so we could very well reach that downside target and continue down to this 50 EMA here at 230.51. So that's something to be mindful of, that Coinbase is an inside day candle and it moves $15.32. EQT is an inside day candle. It normally moves 98 cents per day. Third, if it breaks above 38.88, then 39.47 is the target. If it breaks below 38.14, then the target to the downside is 38.01. That's something to be mindful of. HUT, H-U-T, is an inside day candle. It normally moves 95 cents per day. So if by chance it breaks above 12.28, then 12.29 is the target, which is not far right. If it breaks under 11.50, then the target to the downside is 10.90. So that's something to be mindful of. It did come down and test this 5 EMA, so it could very well come back and retest and break through it to the downside. Again, y'all, I always say trade what you see. And on this daily chart, it did break out of a gathering spot here and move to the upside. So that's something that I always try to point out when I see those, right? So it broke out of a gathering spot, and, looking at it on this daily chart, it started moving to the upside, right? Out of the breakout. So J&J is an inside day candle. It normally moves $1.94 per day. If it breaks above 146.38, then we have an upside target here of 146.41. So, which is not really far, 146.38, 146.41. And to the downside, if it breaks under 145.26, then 144.74 is the target to the downside. Again, it moves $1.94 per day. KSS, which I believe is Kohl's. Kohl's normally move about $1.46 per day. If it breaks above 21.74, then 21.90 is the target. If it breaks below 21.23, then $20.88 is the target, and it is under the 5 EMA, so that's something to be mindful of. Lucid, LCID, is an inside day candle. Lucid only moves 11 cents per day, which is interesting. If it breaks above 262, then the target to the upside is the 262. That's interesting. If it breaks below 255, then the target to the downside is 252. And it too is under the 5 EMA. So if you trade Lucid, that's something to be mindful of. It doesn't move a lot on a daily basis, in my opinion. But hey, trade what you see. And if you enjoy trading stocks like that, then do what's best for you, right? So Mara, M-A-R-A, is an inside day candle. If it breaks above $20.38, then $20.53 is the target. Below 19.13 gives us a target of 18.49. It moves $1.70 per day. And as you can see, Mara is going to be interesting, y'all. It's been creating a gathering spot for us on this daily chart, so it could very well move in either direction, right? In either direction. So if you can see, the price has really been at this area of $20.36 as resistance, and let's say around the $19.41 and around the 1940 area as support, 1970 area as support. So I would definitely watch Mara. Whatever move it's going to make, it's going to be a decent move, because we've been consolidating for a while. So Microsoft is an inside day candle. It normally moves $7.56 per day. If it breaks above 449.97, then 450.94 is the target. If it breaks under 444.86, then the downside target is 440.85. Again, it moves for $7.56 per day, and it looks like we are above this 5 EMA and have been going up to the upside. So that's something to be mindful of. It did create we're trading in this gathering spot. It's creating a gathering spot for us on the daily chart. So I would definitely say trade carefully. Tomorrow's definitely going to be an interesting trading session. Let me say that. So NEO is an inside day candle. It only moves about 28 cents per day. If it should break above $4.46, then $4.48 is the target. If it breaks under $4.32, then $4.24 is the target to the downside. And it too is creating a gathering spot. We are under the 5 EMA, so I would say trade carefully. It would definitely need to break the 455 area to come back up and retest this $4.77. But again, it only moves 28 cents per day. So if you trade NEO, trade carefully. Pfizer, PFE, is an inside day candle. Pfizer normally moves 62 cents per day. If it breaks above $27.46, then 27.48 is the target. To the downside, if it breaks under 26.93, then the downside target is 26.86. And Pfizer too is creating a gathering spot for us on this daily chart. And we are under the 5 EMA. Again, it only moves 62 cents per day, so I would say definitely trade carefully, right? PayPal is an inside day candle. PPL is an inside day candle. Let me rephrase that. PPL is an inside day. If it breaks above $28.09, the target to the upside is $28.12. If it breaks below $27.80, then the target to the downside is $27.77. Again, it moves 45 cents per day. We are under the 5 EMA, and it seems like we've been creating a gathering spot. So are we going to break out from this place, or are we going to continue to the downside? I always say, y'all, trade what you see, right? So QQQ is an inside day candle, and it normally moves $5.73 per day. So if it should break above 485.75, then the target to the upside is 486.86. And if it should break under 483.41, then the target to the downside is 478.29. And again, it moves $5.73 per day. We are above the 5 EMA, and it seems like we've been moving to the upside here. So I would say trade carefully if you trade QQQ. Roblox, RBLX, is another inside day candle. Roblox normally move $1.04 per day. If by chance we break above $36.11, then the target to the upside is $36.24. Now to the downside, if we break under the $35.50, then the target to the downside is $34.43. And it seems as if it closed at $35.90. So we are right at this 55 EMA. The interesting thing is this doji candle that we have here on the daily chart for Roblox. So I would definitely say trade carefully. It too looks like it's been creating a gathering spot for us. So it could very well have a very strong move in either direction. Let me say that, right? Again, it only moves $1.04 per day, but it looks like it wants to break out of this gathering spot, in my opinion. Let me say that. So Snap is another inside day candle, and Snap only moves 54 cents per day. It seems like the ones that we have today does not have a lot of move as far as the ATR, but again, most stocks normally exceed their ATR. Let me say that. Tesla is definitely one of those. So if by chance we break above this level here, let's see, of 1604, then 1605 is the target. To the downside below 1549, then the target to the downside is 1522. Again, Snap moves 54 cents per day. Space, which is also not a big mover, it normally moves $1.88 per day. If it breaks above 1152, then 1267 is the target. To the downside, if it breaks under 928, then 910 is the target, and it too is creating a gathering spot for us. We are under the 5 EMA, and I would say if you traded space, to definitely be careful and trade carefully. Y'all, looking at this SPY chart, it will be impossible to see what this is. So I would definitely say with this SPY, we're going to go to a smaller time frame. Let's see if we can go to a different time frame to get the inside day, because I do believe it is an inside day. So it is not. SPY is not an inside day candle. And I do that by color coded. SQQQ is an inside day candle. So if it breaks above $8.21, then $8.48 is the target. If it breaks under $8.08, then $8.04 is the target. And SQQQ normally moves about 35 cents per day. On this daily chart, it seems to be creating a gathering spot for us, and we are under the 5 EMA. So I would definitely say trade carefully. Upstart, UPST, is an inside day candle. It normally moves $1.56 per day. If it breaks above 22.80, then the target to the upside is 22. Well, if it breaks above 22.79, then 22.80 is the target. And if it breaks under 22.04, then 21.77 is the target to the downside. And it looks like we're headed down. But again, anything is possible. We are under the 5 EMA. It did close at 22.22. So I would say definitely trade carefully if I traded Upstart. And I do believe the VIX, and as you can see, y'all, the SPY and the VIX is something that I look at every single day. So if you see them on my charts and they look a little bit congested, it's because I look at them and I often, let me say that. So I think that's it. VSTO is our last one. VSTO, Vista Outdoor Inc. is an inside day candle. If it should break above 35.09, then 35.71 is the target. Now to the downside, if it breaks under $34.54, then $34.46 is the target, y'all. So these are inside day candles, and it just gives us some type of watch list or things that we can watch. What I normally do is set my alerts to let me know if it break above or below the trigger places. And if it does, you know, it's something that I like to trade, I would definitely watch it in that direction and make sure that I have confirmation as to why I am entering the trades. So again, the market is closed today, so tomorrow could very well be an interesting trading day. Let me say that. I always say trade carefully. Make sure that you have confirmation as to why you're entering your trades, and when it goes against your why, get out. You cannot be afraid to get out. Set your stop losses, or if you do mental stop losses, whatever you use, whatever works best for you, just make sure you stick with the plan and follow your plan. It's always good to live to trade another day instead of blowing your account, right? So again, I hope these videos are very, very helpful, y'all. I hope that everyone have a very, very productive day, and tomorrow a very profitable day, y'all. And I always like to leave you with this, right? Be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.